Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Vince, and we're back on the part 2 of the blog 84, which we just talked about the stackable clue scrolls, but now we're getting into the rest of the blog again. If you missed all of this on the clue scrolls, I will link that in the description as well. You can go watch that, but otherwise we're going to jump into the PVM rework, starting with the Abyssal Sire rework. The Abyssal Sire has always been a unique boss, but we recognize that its mechanics can feel a little outdated compared to more modern encounters. Our goal is to refine the fight while maintaining its core identity, making it more engaging and enjoyable without completely overhauling what makes it special. With that in mind, here are some of the changes we'd like to propose. Sire is currently untargetable during its transition phases, forcing players to sit and wait. We want to make it targetable during these phases to keep the action going. Again, I guess that means you're going to be able to hit it while it's in that transition phase. So that's kind of cool, I guess, but it'll definitely shorten the fight, which maybe that's what they're intending. I'm not sure. Sire's sluggish movement feels unnecessarily tedious. We'd like to increase its speed to match a player's run, reducing downtime between mechanics. The lung phase takes too long, dragging out the fight unnecessarily. We're looking into shortening it while still ensuring it remains a meaningful part of the encounter. We're planning on implementing a minimum hit of 50% of your weapon's max hit, which will allow endgame setups to more reliably one-phase them. Demon Bane weapons will also be able to one-shot these vents. To compensate for these changes and ensure the fight doesn't become too short, we'll be increasing Sire's HP and introducing a 50% damage reduction during its transition phase. This should help maintain the challenge without forcing unnecessary downtime. So, whole lot of different things here, whole lot to unpack. Before I jump to any conclusions, I do want to just read over these specifically. So again, I like the first one. I can now target it while it's doing its transition phase. That's fun. And to compensate for this, they're going to increase the HP. That way it just feels more engaging. I don't know if you need to increase the HP for this, but at the same time, if they playtest it and the kill times are similar, then that would be kind of what I would expect. If not, maybe like a little bit shorter of a fight, just because of what you're adding. Like if it takes, I haven't been to Siren ages, but if it takes 3 minutes to kill it, well, now if I'm doing all of these things quicker, but it still takes 3 minutes to kill it, I'm just gonna shrug my shoulders and be like, what was the point of doing all this? It just feels better to kill, but it still just drags on. So because you added more HP, I guess it's better because of XP, but I would want the fight to be at least slightly shorter, maybe 2.5 if it's going from 3 on average. I like that they're making the movement match a player's run. That's cool. If they feel like it's too sluggish, that's fine. I don't see an issue with that. Lung phase takes too long. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely shorten that a little bit as well. And I want to specifically highlight this one here because I feel like people didn't understand this or had an issue with it, but when it says a minimum hit of 50% of your weapon's max hit, it's saying if your max hit is a 50, you at minimum will hit a 50, or I read 50%, you'll hit a 25, which means when you have better equipment and the right gear for all this stuff, you'll be able to one phase or two-shot those lungs. And then Demon Banes will also be able to, it says Demon Bane weapons will also be able to one-shot these vents. So I don't know if that means with endgame gear or just straight out the rip, but that's kind of cool too. So I would imagine I think it's the Scorching Bow for demons, so you'll be able to just shoot those with the Scorching Bow. So, and then the last thing, this part, I think if you're increasing the HP to compensate, that way there's less downtime, that's fine, as long as you're not making the kill take just as long or longer than what it is already now. And then the 50% damage reduction, that's just during the transition phase. which is probably so you don't just sit there and maul it or just like spec dump while it's in that transition phase. So this is not during the fight. I know I was I was watching Sabe's Ramble. I get a lot of inspiration from him, if you couldn't tell. But this 50% damage, he was like, what? Like, what? Why would you put damage reduction? It's just during that transition phase. So these are all really good. I'm curious to see how it plays out. Again, I haven't been to Sire in years, but I hated it, and the bludgeon didn't seem worth it, so I don't even have a bludgeon at this point, but I'd like to go get one. It's just that fight was terrible, so I skipped over it. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I personally, what's weird to me is that they're polling it as different questions here. These adjustments aim to streamline the fight's flow while maintaining the challenge and rewarding nature of the encounter. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the following. Question, the first one for the Sire. Should we rework the Abyssal Sire to make it targetable during its transition phase? I mean, I think that's fine. Should we increase the Sire's speed to match a player's run speed and reduce downtime between mechanics? Also think that's fine. And should we shorten the long phase on the Sire by increasing the minimum hit on the vents to 50% and making Demon Bane weapons able to one-shot them? Yeah. I mean, I don't see an issue with these things. If it doesn't go the way they want it, they can always revert it. I do think maybe they play test this first. I feel like I don't hear anything about play testing. So, but other than that, I mean, if that's what they feel is gonna make Sire better, like I haven't done Sire in ages, but that all sounds good, at least from a surface level. I don't see anything too bad on here. It all seems like it's still kind of maintaining, like it says at the end here, it maintains the challenge without forcing unnecessary downtime, which I think, again, as long as it doesn't make the fight longer and hopefully shortens it slightly, I think it'll be a good change. So that's your Abyssal Sire rework. This is a weird one to me. This is really weird. Although, before we jump into this, I do want to point out all these like PVM reworks and like other random stuff that we're going to get into down there. Like, this is what I mean by like polishing the game. Like, you have stuff like Sire, let's focus on stuff like Sire. Let's focus on polishing these random things. But without like having suggestions like that or like a proper like polishing rework like project, this all seems so random. But next we have Melee at Zulrah. Wow. After seeing some interesting results in League's Raging Echoes, we now want to make a potential change for the main game, allowing halberd attacks to damage Zulrah. Currently in the main game, Zulrah can't be damaged with melee at all, even with these weapons. Currently in... okay, so they want to allow halberds to attack. And damage Zulrah. It says currently in the main game, Zulrah can't be damaged with melee at all, even with these weapons. Yeah. We want to change that by introducing a new mechanic that allows players to engage Zulrah with melee directly. So what would this mean for you? If this change goes through, you'll be able to deal damage to Zulrah with halberds. However, before you start gearing up with your best melee setup, it's important to understand that this won't replace your traditional mage or range strategies. Does melee outcompete mage or range? In short, not exactly. We've tested the best main hand halberd available, the Noxious halberd paired with high tier gear like Torva and Oathplate, and while that's interesting, they're already testing out Oathplate. And while melee offers some benefits, it doesn't outcompete the current best in slot setups for mage or range. There is one exception. During the Crimson red phase, melee can outperform some magic setups. This means that depending on your gear, melee could be a viable alternative in this phase. If you're considering incorporating melee into your strategy, it might be worth checking your setups and running the numbers to see if it fits your playstyle. But when would melee actually be useful? Melee could be useful in specific situations, especially if your melee gear is significantly stronger than your mage or range setup. The Crystal Halberd special attack could also help in finishing off phases, but it's not a game changer overall. What's the point of this? Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Ultimately, it's about offering players a fun alternative and giving you more ways to approach Zulrah. While it's not meant to replace the existing strategies, it's a fresh option for those who want to experiment or switch things up. We're always exploring new ideas and testing them out to see what works best. This change would give players the freedom to try a different playstyle without drastically altering the core mechanics of Zulrah fights. And the question is, should we allow players to use melee at Zulrah? Excuse me. So this one's weird to me. I get what they're trying to do here in allowing players more flexibility and more options at Zora, and essentially they're saying, you know, it's not going to be all melee weapons, it's just going to be halberds, most notably the Noxious Halberd. I get offering players new, like, options, but at the same time, like, hold on, how old is Zora? This is, like, at this point in the game, like, I don't see that as, like, I feel like Zora, you just don't use melee. Like, there's certain bosses that you just don't use. Like, should we do this to all bosses? Should we do this to all bosses? Like, no. So why are we changing it at Zora? I don't get it. Came out in January of 2015. Like, so 10 years later, we're like, hey, by the way, you can now use halberds at Zora. Like, I won't have a problem with this if it passes, but, like, it came out 10 years ago, and you can't use melee at Zora. I don't understand why we're adding this, so I'm gonna vote no to this personally. I'm not gonna be mad if it passes. It's so niche. I don't see why you would put this in the game at all or even pull it. Like, just it shouldn't even be on here. I don't know. Cool. Next we got not so challenge mode chambers. Next up, we've got something for all you raiders out there. We're excited to introduce a new toggle in the raid creation interface that would allow players to generate a challenge mode style layout for regular Chambers of Xeric Cox raids. This means all the rooms would appear in the same predictable order, just like in challenge mode, while the bosses would still scale to the regular Chambers difficulty with no challenge mode specific rewards or increased HP. This option will offer a consistent layout for those who prefer it. So this is an interesting one. I'm going to keep reading and then I'm going to comment. So why should you care about this? Well, this change isn't just for speedrunners, it also offers valuable benefits for those looking to practice challenge mode mechanics in a less stressful environment. By having a fixed layout for all rooms, you can get comfortable with the flow of the raid, perfect your gear choices, and learn when to use certain potions or tactics. This is especially helpful for newer players who want to practice challenge mode procedure and familiarize themselves with the timing, preparation, and strategy without the stakes of a full challenge mode raid. For speedrunners, this toggle provides a consistent layout, eliminating the need to reroll for certain rooms and making the whole process a bit smoother. It's a chance to refine strategies with fewer variables in play without the pressure of challenge mode specific challenges. For those who just want to learn every room or want to avoid re-rolling for specific layouts, this option provides a great alternative. You'll be able to practice each room in the same order and get the most out of your learning experience. Now you might be wondering, does this mean a new points meta? The answer is no, with an exclamation mark, no. This change won't impact the current metas or strategies in Chambers. It's purely an option for those who prefer a more predictable layout, and while it could make raids slightly more efficient due to fewer prep requirements and no re-rolling, it won't change the overall dynamics of the raid. In essence, this change allows players to get a taste of challenge mode mechanics in a lower stakes setting, making it a fantastic option for those looking to improve their raiding experience. Whether you're a seasoned speedrunner, a challenge mode learner, or just someone who prefers a bit more consistency, this toggle is here to enhance your Chambers experience. So this one's interesting. I think overall this is a really cool idea. It's something that it feels a little weird. Like we have entry mode for theater, and we have obviously the invos for tombs, but this definitely kind of bridges that gap, which I think as a whole is healthy for the game. It just seems pretty good. What throws me off is this paragraph here when they're talking about the points meta. I feel like if you have all those rooms, I think it's like 8 rooms I want to say instead of like 5 or 6, to not get all those points, but you still have to complete it. If it's the same as like a regular Chambers where the health and everything is the same, you're telling me now I have to do 2 or 3 more rooms for no more points. And I get the point is to practice challenge mode, but I mean I feel like even if it's not like a ton of points, you're still doing more content. So I would want more points for this. Not like a new points meta, it doesn't have to be crazy, but even like a little bit extra. Like, just give me something for doing it. Um, it just that's what's throwing me off with this. I like it. I just feel if you don't increase the points, it's gonna be one of those things where people use it to learn, and that's kind of it. Which, if that's their intention, that's fine. Which it seems like it is. Like, it's, if you want something consistent, um, you don't feel like re-rolling, and you want that consistency, you can do this instead. But I don't feel like adding those rooms is worth like not re-rolling or not having consistency. Like, especially with the way the staircase works, you can just menu entry swap the staircase when you go in the raid, and you just hit reroll and hold your spacebar. Yes, reroll, yes, reroll, yes, and it's so quick nowadays. So I don't want this to be like the meta where, like, for regular chambers you feel like you have to do this to get purples. But I feel like if you're good at it, like right now we just scale up the raid. You could do like a 2, like me and my buddy will do a 2+1 because we can just damage it and get those extra points. This I feel would be fantastic in trying to get to the point where you can do challenge mode, and then you get rewarded for it. They say, okay, you're working on getting better, here's a little extra points. And again, nothing crazy. I'm not saying you should get 10% more or like 20% more points. Like, even like 2 to 5%, somewhere in that range, where it affects the purple chance a little bit if you don't die. The other thing, because this reminds me of, what is it? Oh, it's just regular chambers. Like, part of the issue with chambers is when you die, like, it's slowing down your raid already, and you're losing points. So if you're like that, then that's already in the game. If you die at chambers and lose points, you're slowing down your run. You're getting less points. Like, it could just be the losing points. It doesn't have to be, or sorry, it could just be the slowing down your run. Like there's people that argue you shouldn't lose points for deaths in chambers, which I'm kind of on the fence about. It shouldn't be as high as it should be. It should definitely be like a smaller point loss, because you're already losing time. So that's kind of your punishment. But on top of this, like, let's just assume this takes the same amount of time as regular chambers. Maybe they scale down the health, or they change it a little bit where it takes right around the same amount of time. Like, I still have opportunities for more deaths because I'm fighting more rooms. I'm doing Tecton. I'm doing Mudadile. I'm doing all of the bosses in that room on top of all the puzzles. And now you're telling me that if I die, I'm still going to lose all the points. It's still going to take me as long, and I'm not getting anything more than the regular chambers. It's just to learn challenge mode. Like, to a degree, that's fine, but again, I want like a 2 to 5% like increase in points. Just something small, because I'm still going to be putting myself at risk, because now I have to fight every room instead of re-rolling and maybe having just Mutadile and puzzle rooms and like the easy shit, right? Now you're actually putting yourself at risk because you're fighting everything in all 8 rooms in chambers. If it is 8, I want to say it's 8. So I do like this. Should we add challenge mode style layouts for regular chambers of Xeric level raids? This would provide a consistent room order without the increased difficulty or rewards of challenge mode. I'll vote yes to it because I do think it's a cool idea. It's something that's definitely like creative and unique, and it's healthy for the game in my opinion. But I feel like I just want like a 2 to 5% point increase, and maybe that's fine. Maybe I could do like a 2+1 still, and it would still be like better. But on the surface, like, I don't know. I feel like we should get a little bit more. Oh, fun. This brings me back. Demonic Gorillas. I haven't touched these in years, but I remember how tedious they were. So let's see. We're making some improvements to Demonic Gorillas that we hope will make your trips a lot smoother and less frustrating. First up, Demonic Gorillas will become non-aggressive once you've completed the Monkey Madness 2 quest. No more worrying about being constantly attacked, allowing you to take your time and focus on the fight without the hassle of being pounced on. Yeah, this was extremely annoying. That's a fantastic change in my eyes. That should have been added a long time ago. So absolutely yes to that, if that's one of the questions. I would imagine it is. I honestly can't remember. We're also standardizing how often they swap prayers. Thank God. Right now, their behavior is a bit unpredictable. They switch prayers after 50 damage taken or after 6 successful hits from the player. I actually didn't realize that it was one or the other. I thought it was always just like the 50 damage taken. Yeah, that's awful. That's extremely unpredictable. We're tightening that up. Moving forward, demonic gorillas will only switch their prayers after 70 damage taken, and we're moving the 6 successful attacks trigger entirely. This should make the fight feel more consistent and less frustrating, especially for players trying to optimize their kill speed or just enjoy a smoother flow to the encounter. I think you could increase it more than just 70, but I understand that as like a lower, not lower tier, but like a mid to late game fight, like 70 is probably fine. Yeah, I don't know. You can increase it a little bit, in my opinion, but that's not the end of the world. Ultimately, these changes are all about making demonic gorilla fights feel less like a grind and more like an enjoyable challenge. We can't wait to hear how they feel, so let us know your thoughts after facing these beasts. We're fairly sure you'll enjoy these changes, so we're planning on leaving this one unpolled. Oh, okay. But we'll be monitoring your feedback closely. Again, I love that they reassure us about the feedback stuff. This one's unpolled. They're just straight up adding that. No, I like those changes. That's cool. Next, we have chiseling for Ether. We've proposed this change in the past, and ever since, it's remained one of the most frequent requested follow-ups, so we're bringing it back for a formal poll. Charging a Revenant weapon currently requires a hefty 1,000 Revenant Ether, and we've heard from many Iron players that the upkeep cost makes these powerful drops frustratingly difficult to use. It's time we gave you an additional source. That's fantastic. We're proposing a new feature that lets you chisel down ancient statuettes into Revenant Ether, offering a solid alternative to simply trading them in for gold coins via the Emblem Trader. This change gives you more flexibility if you've already secured a Revenant weapon. This will be a new way to help sustain use of it. Here's how the breakdown would look, and you have each relic here, giving Ether on top of GP, not on top of GP, instead of GP if you so choose. So some of that seems a little low. I think you could bump that up a little bit in terms of like the gold, maybe not the gold equivalent, but like, I don't know, that feels low in my eyes, but it's, excuse me, it's late. Yeah, I don't know, it feels low, but it's a cool idea, so I like that they're giving us the option. This isn't a new money-making method. It's a way to turn drops that you may not need into fuel for the weapons you're already using. If you're someone who's deep in the wilderness grind, this should go a long way in making Revenant weapons more viable long-term. Yeah, I do like that, though. Ultimately, like, it's at a rate of 500 GP to 1 Ether, so let me just take a look here. This is something I should definitely do before the Ramble, but it's a Ramble, so it's fine. Revenant Ether right now, it's worth about 173 coins. Yeah, so I would say you could probably about double what we have on this table here. So 500,000 GP or 2,000 Ether, and so on and so forth. With it being a cap of 64,000 Ether for the Ancient Relic. But other than that, I do like it. We can add it. I guess we can add it as is now because we can't really like vote on what the change should be. But if I were you, or if I was Jagex, I would double that table entirely so the GP feels a little bit more worth it, because mains are never going to do this. This is strictly an Iron Man equivalent, or an Iron Man update. Sorry. Next, we have new agility shortcuts. I always like to hear that, so let's see what we got. We know how much you love a good agility shortcut. Yep. So we're looking to add even more ways to bypass those pesky fences, walls, and obstacles slowing you down. Here's some of the locations we're proposing: Castle Dracan, Reworks Castle Garden, Proud Spire, Fossil Island, Mauritania Slayer Tower. So first up, Castle Dracan. I believe this is just for the clue step, and we have scale the wall one way, which is interesting, like a true vampire hunting parkour expert. So yeah, this is just strictly for the clue step, and I think that's fine. It doesn't give me the level requirements though, so I think that's a bit of an oversight. Verot Castle Garden. Skip the long way around the palace with a new shortcut over the fence. See, this one says requires 35 agility. Are we just getting the other ones? I don't understand. They need to be a little bit more clear about that. But this requires 35 agility and completion of Garden of Tranquility. I don't know if you necessarily need a quest requirement in there. I don't see that being useful enough where you need a quest requirement there, but I mean, I guess it makes some sense thematically, so it's fine, I guess. But I'd probably get rid of the Garden Tranquility part. Next we have Proud Spire, a shortcut for both directions to get to the top of the mountain in Varlamore. Again, I see no issue with that. I would have to take a look at where that is specifically, because I don't recall off the top of my head, but that's pretty cool that it'll just help you get to the top of the mountain a little faster if you have the agility level that you need. Fossil Island, a shortcut from the tower down to the small island for when you just don't feel like taking the long way around. This is actually fantastic. I overlooked this when I first read it, but this is absolutely fantastic. Someone proposed that they should put like a zip line going to the small island, which I think is a sick idea. So I'm curious to see what specifically they're going to add to this. I believe it's for the seaweed. For the seaweed island, but that's a fantastic shortcut idea and update if it passes, which I don't see why it wouldn't. And then Mauritania Slayer Tower. So this is cool because it's somewhere that everybody's gonna go and everyone's gonna use. A low level shortcut, level 9 or 18 agility for quicker access to Banshees. This is actually, I said this when I would boost for Slayer. When I was doing, what was it? I want to say a Raxor. When I was trying to get a spider task, I always hated running around the thing, and they said level 9 or 18 agility. Yeah, I mean, you could put it to 18, that's fine. I don't mind it being the higher one there. So, for quicker access to Banshees. Yeah, this is going to be fantastic for lower level players, and then on top of that, players that are boosting for Slayer points. That's fantastic. And then a mid-level shortcut, mid-60s agility to climb straight from the ground floor to the top, skipping the endless staircases. This is fine too. I don't think that that's like the end of the world if that wasn't added, but like it's convenient, so I would love to see it. These shortcuts will help you move around Gilnor with ease, whether you're slaying monsters, speedrunning clues, or just avoiding unnecessary detours. Now we need your say on these changes. Yeah, I would add all of them. So next, I should just skip this because I'm an Iron Man, but I'll read it. We all love a good bank rework, and this time around we're bringing some quality of life upgrades to make your time in Gilnor that little bit smoother. Whether you're speed depositing loot, adjusting offers at the Grand Exchange, or just enjoying a more consistent interface experience, these updates aim to reduce friction and save you clicks. Grand Exchange edits. Markets can move fast, and we make sure you're not left behind. We're working on a feature that will let you edit your Grand Exchange offer prices directly from the offer status page without needing to manually cancel and re-enter the whole thing. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. That's just what I mean when I say polishing. I've been saying it for a while, but I'll keep saying it. When I say polish the game, this is the sort of stuff. You shouldn't even have to pull something like that. To be fully transparent, this will still cancel and resubmit your offer in the background, and your position in the purchase sale queue will be updated accordingly, but all this will happen automatically. No more faffing with manual re-entry. It's the same functionality, made far less clunky and much faster. Yeah, this shouldn't even be pulled. Just add it. Similar to the demonic gorillas, just put in empty bags, sacks, boxes, and pouches. This is actually fantastic for Slayer. Ever wrap up a trip, head to the bank, and realize you've got to manually empty a mountain of containers just to get everything stashed away? Yeah. It's a small thing, but we know it adds up, so we're proposing a much more convenient way to handle it. We'd like to introduce a new empty containers button to the bank and deposit box interfaces. This would act much like a current deposit looting bag option, but with expanded functionality. With just one click, you'll be able to empty all your relevant containers, including coal bag, essence pouches, herb sack, seed box, plank sack, log basket, fish barrel, shade remains. Do they have... I think that's it. Yeah. We're also planning to make this feature customizable so you can toggle which containers you want this button to specifically affect via the bank or deposit box settings, whether you want everything emptied at once or just a few specific items that controls in your hands. The only thing I don't see on this, I haven't heard anybody mention this, the gem bag. gem bag should be added to this. But other than that, fantastic. Rebuy feature. We're also exploring a repeat last offer feature for the Grand Exchange. This would remember the last item you purchased, including its price and potentially the quantity, and give you the option to recreate that offer in just a few clicks. It's perfect for regular rebuys or anyone wanting a quicker way back into the market. These tweaks are designed to keep things clean and convenient, no hidden strings, just smarter systems. Yeah, this is great. That's fine. Feel free to put that in if they figure out how to add it. Lastly, we have standardized reward and deposit interfaces. Ever noticed how some reward chests and deposit menus have their options in different order every time? One moment inventory is first, the next time it's bank, and sometimes discard sneaks in when you least expect it. It's like trying to grab your usual groceries only to find the entire store layout has changed overnight. Frustrating and unnecessary, so we're fixing it. Moving forward, we're standardizing these interfaces so that options always appear in a consistent order. Whether you're looting a raid chest, collecting a minigame reward, or interacting with similar menus, you'll always know exactly where to click. No second guessing required. We're planning to leave these last two changes unpolled as it just makes sense, but do let us know if you have any feedback. Fantastic. Yeah. Again, when I talk about polishing this game, I just want a full project where they say, hey, give us ideas, give us things you want us to add in here, and they start working on it. But they've been doing a fantastic job putting this in here and adding it like as they go, so, and just sprinkling it here and there. So I love the polishing updates like this. It's such a small thing, but it makes the game feel just that much better, especially over time. Other changes. Not every update has to be a grand spectacle. Sometimes it's the little changes that make the biggest impact on your day-to-day adventures in QoL. I just said that. Whether it's saving your hard-earned chinchampas, making bonfires a more viable fire-making method, or fixing some bizarre mechanics that defy all logic, these tweaks are designed to make your life just that little bit easier. Here's what we've got lined up. First, Chinchampa insurance. Losing chinchampas to a disconnect or PVM death feels awful. You worked hard for those squeaky little explosives, and it's frustrating when they just disappear into the void. We're changing that. We want to make any unprotected chins go straight to your gravestone or death pile, just like normal items, so you have a chance to recover them. We're also removing the destroy option, because who wants to intentionally destroy a cute little chinchampa? Not you. With this change, they would have a drop option instead. In PVM, your chins will stick around like any other loot. In PvP, no changes, your opponents will get your unprotected chins fair and square. Yeah, this is a good change. I think there was some sort of risk that was involved in that added to bringing like chinchampas into PVM situations. So I think maybe a percentage of them you could lose. You could say maybe like 5%. That way you're not just bringing your whole stack, but maybe you bring 1,000 and you die and you lose 50 or something along those lines. So I think you could add maybe a 5% to the PVM death, and you keep the rest of them. Like some of the chinchampas ran away, or some of them got scared and ran away or something. But ultimately, I think keeping the majority of them is pretty cool. We're getting there. We're almost at the end, guys. I appreciate anyone who's here and has been listening the whole time. Bonfires, a fair XP rate. Bonfires exist as a more relaxed way to train fire making, but in reality, they're barely used. The XP per log is so low that almost no one bothers with them, meaning they serve a little practical function in the game. Yeah, that's pretty true. To address this, we're adjusting bonfires so they grant the same XP per log as manually lighting fires, while still keeping their overall XP per hour lower than individual log burning. It's manually lighting fires. This change won't make bonfires the new meta, but will make them a more viable option for those who prefer a laid-back training method without feeling like they're missing out. See, the issue I have with this, I do like it, but they say this change won't make bonfires the new meta, but it does, because I don't want to sit there and light logs over and over. I guess it's faster if I light logs over and over, so that's still the best. So I guess it's fine. I guess that's what it is. I guess just adding them to the bonfire is slower. But if it's the same XP, I don't know. I guess that's fine, given manually lighting them is just faster. Like faster logs per hour. that you're burning. Should bonfire XP be adjusted to match the same XP log ratio as manually lighting logs while ensuring it still results in a lower XP rate compared to lighting them individually? Yeah, I'll vote yes to this. I think you could bump it down to like 90% of the XP instead. It doesn't necessarily need to be 100 because then people are just going to be doing bonfires. They would do it anyway, but I think adding the 90% makes it so it's just like noticeably less, where they're saying like, you know, you are going to get somewhat of a penalty for doing this. So, however, I'm someone that loves to AFK at Redwoods, and I'll sit there and put logs on bonfires. I don't care, because ultimately, the only other thing I'm going to do is either craft them into shields or flesh them into headless arrows, and I have like, I couldn't even tell you, it's like 3 million headless arrows at this point. So oftentimes I'll just put them in bonfires. So this is actually fantastic for anybody that woodcuts away from a bank and just wants to burn the logs instead. Most notably, in my opinion, at Redwoods. The gout tuber mystery. Right now, the higher your woodcutting level, the harder it is to find a gout tuber, which makes absolutely no sense. Instead of punishing players for leveling up, we're flipping the script so that higher woodcutting levels actually increase your chances of finding one. This means less time mindlessly chopping jungle, more time doing literally anything else, and maybe, just maybe, less frustration when trying to get your hands on this elusive root. Should the chance of receiving a gout tuber increase with higher woodcutting levels rather than current inverse system? Yeah, again, this is something that just shouldn't be even pulled. It shouldn't be pulled. It should just be put in the game. But yeah, I'll vote yes to that. That's cool. Next, this one's interesting. Imcando hammers on Entrana. Entrana has always had some strict rules about what weapons you can and can't bring, but there's a bit of a head scratch when it comes to the Imcando hammer. Despite being considered a weapon, the hammer has 0 stats and doesn't even speed up unarmed combat, so why can't it be brought to Entrana? One clever skiller even reported that their niche methods could benefit from bringing the hammer, as it would help save inventory space, because, you know, who doesn't want to carry less junk around? Now, while we're whitelisting both the main hand and offhand versions of the hammer to be used on Entrana, now we're whitelisting both to be used on Entrana. This way you can finally free up the precious inventory space without losing out on any of the hammer's utility. It's a small change that makes a big difference, especially for those who love efficiency or have mastered skilling with a minimal setup. Yeah, I mean, I'm out of the loop on the clever skiller thing. But the main hand and offhand hammer, yeah, I mean, if it has no stats, it's not affecting anything, then that's just an integrity change that just thematically makes sense to add, so that's fine. We also have a few miscellaneous updates at the end of our beefy part two-parter blog post today, so, well, poll 84. So this goes in the miscellaneous category. These changes are a few neat quality of life updates coming for you. I love it. To remove the headache of some of your daily grind. We've left these changes unpolled. Interesting, as we're confident you'll like them. It's interesting. Auto queuing bird's nest. With this update, click once on a bird's nest and now they'll auto queue. You can relax while the nests open themselves in an orderly fashion. No more frantic clicking like a maniac trying to keep up with those sneaky little nests. Nests of the same type will be opened first, so you're not jumping between different kinds in a disorganized mess. Efficiency at its finest and no more endless spam clicking. See, I'm gonna spam click them anyway if I'm doing a birdhouse run and getting back, so hopefully it doesn't like screw up like with the clicking. But that's cool. That's, again, stuff that should be polished. Things that should be in the game already. I honestly, like, I love that they polish stuff like this. Anyway, keeping the bird's nest. If you get a beginner clue scroll, I noticed this with Redwoods. From a bird's nest in a member's world, you'll be able to keep the nest instead of it disappearing. No more losing valuable nests. Excuse me. No more losing valuable nests while you chase those clues. Yeah, I noticed if you get a beginner clue nest, because I would get them at Redwoods, you would lose the nest. It would just give you the clue, and I'm like, that makes no sense. So that's cool that they're actually they know that and they're changing it. Streamlined settings for new players. For new players, we're making the settings menu easier to navigate. We'll hide some of the options that aren't immediately relevant, so you're not overwhelmed by the full range of settings right from the get-go. It's a simpler, less intimidating experience for newcomers. Yeah, that's cool. It's always good to welcome new players. This is really cool. This is just the creativity that they have that I love to read about. Get a helpful did you know tip when you log in. From useful hints to fun facts, these tips will appear in the chat, and you'll be able to customize the colors in the settings. Not your thing? No worries. You can toggle it off at any time. It's a little something to help you along your journey. So I'm curious as to what tips these will be, how many they'll have, and so on and so forth. But that's cool, especially again for the new players. Wise Old Man updates. The Wise Old Man is expanding his services. He'll now accept a wider range of quest-related items when you use his service to remove items from your bank. It's never been easier to clear out your bank space and prepare for your next adventure. Again, fantastic. These are all great. Shades of Morton update. We're adding an empty option to the Shades of Morton coffin while inside the bank interface. This will allow you to directly deposit shade remains into your bank without any extra steps. It's a small change, but one we hope you'll find useful. So I'm curious what that one is. I haven't done much Shades of Morton, so if you're a big Shades of Morton player, let me know how you feel about that. But that seems cool. That seems, again, just quality of life. No more delays at fishing spots. Say goodbye to annoying delays when a fishing spot moves while you're running toward it. Now you can click to move right to the new location without any interruptions. We're making those fishing trips a lot smoother. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I feel like I'm just saying that for everything, but that's really cool when you run to it and it disappears on you. You can just immediately click to the next one. It's awesome. Toggle for snow effects. For players who might find the snow effects on Waterbirth Island uncomfortable, we're adding a setting that allows you to toggle the visibility of falling snow. Accessibility matters, and we hope this update will give you the option to enjoy the game without those extra visual distractions. Again, more just accessibility, which is nice. Giant's Foundry bonus action ticks. This is actually pretty cool too. In the Giant's Foundry, if you nail the bonus action tick perfectly, you'll recover a portion of any missed quality, which is awesome. There was no way to recover portions of missed quality, so to put that in with the action tick is a really cool addition to Giant's Foundry. This should make your bonus actions even more rewarding, giving you a little extra for your precision. Excuse me. Again, yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to be able to add to it. Again, there's no way to recover missed quality right now, so especially if you look away for a second and you lose just a little bit, you can now kind of pay attention, say, okay, let me get one of these perfect bonus action ticks, and I'll recover the fact that that I missed part of the quality, and I can still get a perfect sword. It doesn't feel like that whole sword is just screwed. No more delay with cat chasing rats. We're fixing the pesky delay caused by cats chasing rats. Your character's actions will no longer be delayed during this animation, making it smoother to get things done without any extra hiccups. Yeah, that's fantastic. That is pretty annoying. Like your character just stalls and you can't move at all. So it reminds me of when you used to go and get the spices for the stew, so you could stew boost before I maxed my iron. Updated trap placement. We've improved the placement of hunting traps at various spots, making it easier to set up and more efficient for players looking to maximize their hunter training. One of the biggest beneficiaries of this change is net traps for salamanders, which should now feel much smoother to place. No more awkward setups, just efficient, hassle-free trapping. So I'm not the biggest player on salamander hunting, but if they're saying that it's gonna be more smooth and less awkward, that's always a good thing. Stackable hunter traps. Wow, okay. Say goodbye to inventory clutter. All hunter traps are now stackable in your inventory. This will make it much easier to carry and deploy traps without constantly needing to go back to the bank. Less space, more traps, what's not to love? I mean, if you're going into hunter, you have plenty of like space in your inventory anyway, but I mean that's kind of cool. So I just will have it in one spot. Small meat pouch near banks. You'll be able to use the small meat pouch near banks. It's a small change, but it's a big help for streamlining your hunting process. No more extra trips to the bank to load up your pouch. So this, I honestly don't even know what this is referring to. I want to say it's probably Varlamore, but regardless, if it's streamlining the process, it should be a pretty good change. Tower of Life, you'll no longer have a random chance to find nothing when searching Tower of Life crates during the quest. That one seems super random. But okay, sure. I'm curious how like they came up with these things. Like, did someone point it out in the community, or like are they playing like Iron Man accounts, or like just looking for this stuff or reading it? Like I would love to know the insight on how they're finding some of these things. And then lastly, Wintertod. The warmth overhead bar in Wintertod will be made narrower to avoid visual clutter, especially during populated fights. Additionally, the player's health bar will no longer appear alongside the warmth bar when you get hit by the cold. So again, all of these are just quality of life updates that are fantastic, that they've left unpulled. They're super niche, small updates, but when again, I'm gonna say it just one more time. When I mention everything about polishing the game, all these little updates, right? I adore the fact that they do these sorts of things. I hope they continue to do these sorts of things. It's fantastic. And like always, it is signed the mods, the old school team. So that is going to be it for this second part of poll 84, which again, we started with stackable clues in the last video, which will be in the description. And we went from the PVM rework down. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a lot to cover, but lots of good stuff in this poll 84. So this has me really excited for what we're gonna get moving forward in future polls, especially with the polishing the game and the quality of life updates, on top of like revisiting old content and just touching it up. So again, if you guys enjoyed, feel free to leave a comment if you made it this far, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.